Hi, I'm Katie Uhlmann reporting for Katie Chats at hotDOCS in downtown Toronto. I'm here with filmmaker Doug Brown. How does it feel to be here at hotDOCS, gearing up for the production of your next film?
It's very exciting. This is an awesome environment, of course. There's a lot of phenomenal filmmakers here. For somebody in between films, the best part of the festival is the forum. The amount of, I guess, educational opportunities and legal advice and how to integrate archive footage. This is the place to go just to learn a little more about like the nitty gritty and all those weird aspects of filmmaking you don't learn about in film school and you don't learn about in a textbook. So very exciting.
Well, welcome back. Welcome back. And you have a film out called Never Enough. So tell me a little bit about this film.
So firstly, I'm a pathetic record collector. I have thousands and thousands of records all over my house, and I wanted to make a film that celebrated the spirit of collecting, but not just record collecting. So essentially, I contacted all the largest collectors of things in Canada, interviewed, men with hundreds of rubber duckies, a guy with $100 million worth of Cadillacs, somebody with 1 million war badges stacked floor to ceiling in Rubbermaid containers, and started really investigating what made them tick, what is the thrill that they get behind the chase. So it was a lot of fun to make. It's a visual mess, I'll call it, like just thousands of shots of B-reel right in your face the whole film, and it's a lot of fun to watch. And it does go into a bit of the hunter-gatherer instincts, why people collect, but most importantly, it's a celebratory film on why people feel, I guess, obligated to collect, but also just what they get out of it. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
And did Robert Fiddle edit that film as well?
Yeah. So Robert Fiddle and his partner Steph, they've been my editors for the last couple years now. So they edited that film, and they're going to be working on my next project. Joe Salvoni was my cinematographer on the first one. Beautiful cinematography. He's got great use of symmetry. I'm using a different production team on the next one. So Alex George and Dan Wallace are my two cinematographers on my next one.
Yeah, Dan went to Queens too. Queens TV.
Yes, that's right. And back when I did a lot of acting at Queens, he had me on as I used to do guest spots on QTV all the time. So yeah.
And tell me a little bit about your next project. I know it's about hardcore music.
Yeah, it's pretty extreme. I'm doing a film called Slave to the Grind, and it's on a very abrasive subgenre of music called grindcore. And if you think about grind as in grinding gears, like the very uncomfortable, nasty sound of that, mixed with the core comes from hardcore punk. So it's kind of like if you were to take, in layman's terms, kind of like death metal and hardcore punk and put them in a blender, but it's much more than that. It can be exceptionally left-wing. It was in some ways founded on left-wing politics. It was born in Birmingham, England, by a band called Napalm Death, but at the same time, there was bands all around the world that were also starting with the same sound. So I'm kind of going in and looking at, before the internet, how come there's all these bands that were doing kind of a similar sound at the same time in different parts of the world, and what is that actually in reaction to? So in Flint, Michigan, there's a band called Repulsion, and they released this nasty album called Horrified, which is essentially was just about like boils and pus and just the grossest thing possible, and why they also started this similar sound.
So is there a difference between, this is going to sound really silly and horrible, but is there a difference between noise and music, or where do you draw the line between noise and music?
I would almost argue that grindcore is not music.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The logo for grind is eighth notes with an X through it. It's not music.
Okay.
It is noise.
Okay.
It's not just short songs, though. It has a bit of a reputation for Napalm Death has this song called You Suffer, and it's a second long, right? And they have a lot of songs that are under the 5-second mark. A lot of pure grind bands, you'll see a song a minute, 20-minute sets with 15 to 20 songs. And
so it's like an experience.
Yeah, they're cathartic bursts. And I don't expect everyone to like the music, but for me, it's important for me to humanize it. We're all not pathetic miscreants on the street, wreaking havoc. Some of it is tongue-in-cheek, some of it is very humorous, but at its core, it's something that moves a lot of people. Nobody's getting rich making grindcore, and I think that's very important. Why are people such slaves to this music? What is so powerful and important about it? It's so visceral. I get goosebumps just talking about grindcore. for something that is so off-putting for so many people, why does it make people want to stand up for something when there's so much apathy in this world? Like, there's this band called Agathocles. They're from Belgium, and they always kind of proclaim that grindcore is protest. And it doesn't really always matter what you're protesting against, but if you're standing up for something you believe in, like, it's like the ultimate middle finger, right? And
like, take that.
yeah, yeah, in some ways, right? Like, it's just like, think about like the sounds of trash cans falling down the stairs. To some people, that'd be like, but for somebody who's going to think very objectively about like what really does put together the boundaries of music, right? And how come that can't be a song, or at least the framework for a song, right? Like, you just listen to all the schlock on the radio, and it's the same old, and like there's this subgenre that's persisted for 30 years now, essentially, that's just gone so against the grain and stayed quite true to its roots.
Is it a political message as well? There, a lot of songs on the radio are very formulaic. So is it a little bit political in that it's saying, you know, F, F you. It doesn't have to be that way. It can be whatever we want it to be, or...
I don't want to also pigeonhole grind as like only political,
Yeah.
But there are two camps of thought, and I'm not going to give my opinion on this. Like, obviously the film will shed lights of all the musicians' opinions, but essentially from what I've been gathering, and what I've always kind of known, is that you're going to have those grindcore musicians that are, yes, you cannot remove politics from grindcore. If you do not have politics in grindcore, it is not true grindcore. And to the point where they'll say, this is false grind, this is fake. But there's other musicians that are going to say, you know what, I'm going to sing about horrific subject matter in a tongue-in-cheek manner, almost as an FU to those true grind elitists. Or it might be something complimentary to say, like, you know what, they can both exist. And so you have grindcore, and you have things like gore grind that sing about gore. And then you have, and I'm going to go into some weird territory here, we have porno grind that sings maybe about rape and misogyny, and yes, a lot of people would find that very horrific, and yes, as an act and an action, it is horrific, but there's a lot of things that are kind of poking fun at that, and without me giving my opinion on that, there's going to be a lot of dialogue within the film, bands arguing about and against one another about whether they are even a true representation of the genre of music.
Right. And where's the best place for us to find out more information on you and your films online?
Okay, very good question. So firstly, Never Enough is available in North America right now on Rogers On Demand, Shaw On Demand, Xbox Live, Google Play, Amazon, iTunes. We're currently in negotiations for a couple television sales, so stay open to that. It's released through Juice Media and Radar Station Pictures. Check out grindcorefilm.com, and Slave to the Grind has a Facebook page that you can check out, as well as on Twitter, and that'll be coming out late in 2017.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Congratulations, and say hi to Rob Fiddle for me.
I certainly will. Yeah, excellent.
Thank
you very much for having me.
Thank you. I'm Katie Alvin reporting for Katie Chats at hotDOCS in Toronto.